In St. Louis, not all streets shine at night. Jefferson Avenue is one of those forgotten roads where streetlights stand tall but dead, their bulbs shattered, casting no glow. Graffiti curls and twists around the posts like vines. Old buildings with equally shattered windows bookend the pothole-riddled road. The curbs, chipped and missing chunks, are filled with discarded bottles, while the bus stop, occupied by one man drinking from a paper bag, drips rust-stained water onto the cracked sidewalk. That rusty trickle leads to a pair of scuffed yellow Timberland boots. Above them, ripped blue jeans stick to lean legs, and a white wife-beater clings to a torso marred by a cola stain, barely visible under the weight of a glinting Jesus piece. The man wearing them is as grimy as the street, his black hair slicked back to reveal a widow's peak, making his face seem even more angular. Stained teeth flash in a crooked smile, setting off the acne scars that line his cheeks, a roadmap of his past. He stands with his hands in his pockets and a bulge on his front. His belt suspends the handle of his confidence. With a practiced motion, he pulls out a soft pack of Camel cigarettes, places one between his lips, and flicks a Bic lighter to life. As he inhales, his eyes briefly soften, his tough demeanor momentarily easing, before the exhale returns him to his hardened state. From the distance, a car roars onto Jefferson Avenue. It's a 90s Cadillac sedan, painted wine red, with white wall tires that bump over every pothole with calculated grace. The music thumping from its speakers demands attention, the bass rattling windows. The car halts in front of the man, and the passenger window glides down as smoothly as a katana slipping into its sheath. A cloud of thick smoke spills out, carrying the pungent scent of weed, causing the man to step back, chuckling. Jesus, man, do you really need to light up before every deal? I get it if you're smoking on your own time, but this is a major league gig, the man says, the irritation barely masked by amusement. The driver's voice, tinged with mockery, cuts through the smoke. This is the only reason I agreed to drive you, Major League, he quips, his hands emerging from the cloud to mime quotation marks. Now get in the damn car. You're letting the smoke out. The lock clicks, and without hesitation, the man grabs the door handle, slipping into the passenger seat. He shuts the door quickly, sealing the haze inside. You didn't forget the case this time, did you? You fucked us last time, the man asks, his tone cutting. Of course I brought it, asshole. Check the back seat, the driver says, as the smoke begins to thin out, revealing parts of his face and body. He is an Asian man with some Japanese phrasing inscribed into the left side of his forehead. He has a portly face with scrotum cheeks and chocolate eyes. He is dressed well, a tight black shirt that accentuates his feminine chest and alcoholic belly is covered by a bomber jacket riddled with patches ranging from a side profile of Vladimir Lenin to Betty Boop spreading her legs. Behind him on the white velvet seat is a black crocodile leather case. Question is, are you ready, bag boy? The driver asks with a smirk that spreads like oil on water. Do I look like a fucking virgin to you? The man snaps back, his bravado sharpening. Well, virgins don't do a lot of fucking. The driver replies, his smirk growing. You act all Gary Cooper when you're with me, but I know you get shaky out there. I told you, I'm stone cold, Goro. No faking here, the man retorts, his voice hardening. Whatever you say, Michael, Goro replies with a sly grin, shifting the car into drive. The Cadillac lurches forward, the engine growling as it devours the road. Michael rolls down the window, flicking his cigarette into the night. The broken windows and graffitied street lamps begin to fade away with every passing intersection, as if swallowed by the growing shadow of downtown's gleaming towers. The transition is stark. One moment you're surrounded by cracked concrete and crumbling brick, the next by shimmering glass and polished steel. Tinted windows replace the jagged glass of abandoned shops, and corporate logos gleam from high-rises like crowns of power. The graffiti fades into slick branding, while the gutted remains of working-class neighborhoods give way to the cold, calculated efficiency of corporate wealth. Here, the air feels different. Cleaner, cooler, curated, piped in through hidden vents, masking the stench of hard labor and desperation that clings to the outskirts. The streets are wider, smoother, free of the potholes that litter Jefferson Avenue. Pedestrians wear pressed suits instead of worn-out boots, their pace quickened by the rhythm of success and a sense of importance that never touches the outer blocks. You can see it in the way their eyes don't even glance at the wine-red Cadillac that normally turns every head on the block. There are bougie bars with neon signs, their entrances thick with the scent of pretentious craft beer. You can almost hear the men inside, handlebar mustaches, tiny tattoos, and flannel shirts, debating the finer points of their own farts as they sip overpriced brews. The divide is not just economic, it's built into the streets themselves, the borders of one world bleeding into the other, but never truly merging. Almost there, Goro says, his eyes fixed on the road, deliberately avoiding the distracting lights of the bars and ever more expensive shops. Michael glances at him. Yeah, I can see the casino's lights from here. This deal better be worth all the hassle. Oh, it will be, Goro replies with a confident grin. Tonight's shipment is one of a kind. High-class shit you don't come across every day. These buyers are seasoned players, they ready to pay top dollar. Michael's expression turns serious. I've dealt with shady bastards, but I don't trust this one. I mean, fuck man, we only know these fucks from one phone call. Goro grunts to signal he agrees. What's our backup plan if shit hits the fan? Since when do we plan for bad? We play it smooth, stick to the plan, and hope the buyers are as serious as they seem. If things go wrong, we improvise, 'cause we cool as fucking Corleones. The car slows as it approaches the casino, its neon lights casting a vibrant glow over the parking lot. Michael peers out the window, taking in the casino's extravagant facade. The casino is white concrete meant to resemble marble with gold-painted trim etching out its pantheon shape. Rolls-Royces and Maybachs line the lot. Uniformed valet attendants move swiftly among the vehicles, expertly maneuvering them into prime spots with practiced ease. The casino's entrance is a cascade of flashing neon lights, interspersed bursts of electric blue and emerald green. Michael takes in the scene with a mix of awe and calculation. He can see patrons in tailored suits and glamorous evening wear entering and exiting, their laughter and chatter punctuating the air, mingling with the occasional clink of glasses and the soft rumble of casino games. Goro smirks, his eyes scanning the area as he parks the Cadillac. This is where Corbin Carrolls become A-Rods. The Cadillac rolls into the casino's parking lot, the engine's purr dying down, and the headlights slowly fading out. Michael and Goro look at each other and relax, waiting for the night to advance. Goro leans his chair back and begins to fall in and out of napping. They are an hour early, but it's obvious Michael doesn't believe sleeping is the appropriate move to make at a time like this. He sits like a stone, like as the pillars of the casino in the passenger seat, his eyes scanning the surroundings with a sharp intensity. His hands are busy rubbing his elbows, a nervous habit he's developed over the years. Despite the cool air inside the car, he feels a growing discomfort, his throat dry and his attempts to swallow coming up empty. He tries to swallow, but there is no saliva. Hugging himself, Michiel hums as the hardened eyes in his head are getting softer by the minute, and beads of sweat are growing in number, plastering his face with a layer of salty water. His hand drifts to the front of his jacket, where he carefully strokes the textured handle of his gun. He runs his fingers along the smooth, cold metal, feeling its reassuring weight. The gun, a constant companion, offers a semblance of comfort amid the growing pressure of the upcoming deal. The low hum of electric lights of the casino is shattered by a deafening gunshot. Goro's head is open. His fleshy lumps smear the driver's side window, now shattered in a mosaic of thick red, transparent glass and chunky pink. His tongue has fallen out of his mouth, and his eyeball has been popped into a slimy sludge as it touches the steering wheel. Michael's anxiety turns to mania. His eyes were wide and pupils dilated, his hands shaking as if he had Parkinson's in an earthquake. Michael boots the car door with a powerful thrust of his timberland, the force causing the door to swing open abruptly. It crashes back against its hinges with a loud bang, the metal frame buckling slightly from the impact. He steps out of the car, ducking his head. His shaken hands fumble, grabbing the handle of the pistol. In this moment he drops the ball. The handle of the gun cracks against the asphalt, and it fires at Mikhail, missing his left leg by only a few inches. In the same moment, a loud sound accompanies the jolt of pain Michael feels in his right leg, now left with a hole. The cool night air cuts his wounded knee, and the reassuring weight of his pistol is a distant memory. Michael collapses to the ground like a Raggedy Ann. As he hits the asphalt, the only sound leaving his body is a pathetic yelp. Tears fill his soft eyes as he turns back to Goro, who is now slumped in the passenger seat. Through the haze of pain and confusion, Michael sees three figures approaching. Their demeanor is collected as they walk with large strides and flowing legs. They are wearing black balaclavas and black hoodies to match. Two of them are holding large rifles that match the hue of their attire. The echo of each shadow figure's boots clicking on the ground relays Michael's dread. Michael reaches out for the pistol with all his might. His arm seems to be stretched by one of those old torture devices as it reaches an unnatural length. Kicking with his good leg, he gains a few inches, but they aren't enough to grab the gun. His sweat mixes with the dust that coats the week old vomit on the floor. The weight of the boot is too much for Michiel's hand as it shifts the balance of his digits. The slight cracking sound of his hand destroys the little hope Michiel had. He pulls his arm back, but his body shifts before his assailant's weight. The assailant folds in half and snatches Michael's head to an upward position and covers Michael's vision with deep, empty felt. The sharp stench of chemicals fills his brain with a woozy feeling, and the hairs on his arms stand up. Michael has lost his hearing and his sight. A pressure on the back of his neck grows until the chain of his Jesus piece snaps. The men mumble words amongst themselves and lift Michael up, carrying him to his next location. Though his eyes are covered, they swell with tears. His mind is at the racetrack, and his destiny has been sold. The stoic has turned to jelly, but the jelly could not dull the impact of the rifle stock cracking his skull and sending him to sleep as a frail, broken doll.